I figured we'd run this more just like a Q&A. We didn't have any new material to present necessarily. So if you guys were stuck on anything or had questions about anything, go ahead and throw it in the channel. I'll share my screen too. And in lieu of any questions about the project, we can do questions about anything. So how's it going in general with that? I'm gonna poly something too. Aha, a problem with the deploy. Yeah.
What is that?
This one looks nasty. First question, did anybody else see this? Yeah, I don't think we have any. We don't have any static stuff we need to collect, I don't think. If you disabled it, did you get a different error? What kind of application error?
I'm looking at these markers. What is it at the top in the pip file? What does it mean? Python version is less than 3. Don't match your environment. That seems suspicious.
Oh, it's in here? Oh, yeah.
Where is that coming from?
That is really weird.
Let's see which part, the markers.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just up that way.
Ignore enum 34. I wonder what these dependencies are.
Yeah, I already have Postgres DB up on Heroku.
Did it work with SQLite?
SQLite in the environment variable, or
just in general when you deployed.
let's see. I'll share my screen and it'll probably be, wait a minute. Gotta actually. I gotta come back and zoom in order to share my screen. One moment.
Yeah, Python version 3.6 should be fine. I think anything lower than 3.6 will start throwing errors because of f strings. So f strings are, I believe, in 3.6. So anything lower than that will throw some errors. But I also didn't have any problem running it with 3.7 code on Heroku.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing with all the Heroku web pages saying that 3.7 is supported, but then the actual deploy says it's not.
Yeah.
But then it works anyway. So I don't know.
I'm back. Let's see here.
Cool. It seems like most people have gotten their server up and deployed. A lot of people have started working on the client, which is awesome. Yeah, those of you who are stuck on the server should make sure that that you get your server up and running. We don't want you to be stuck. Don't want you to be stuck for too long on that. Me or your PMs can sit down with you to figure that out if you're still stuck.
Like Brady said yesterday, the meat of the project is the front end. So
And if you can develop locally without like if it's just your Heroku that's broken, but you're able to test your API endpoints locally, then you should definitely get started on your front end as well. If you can get your front end to talk to your local hosts, that's okay. And then we'll figure out the Heroku stuff. Okay, cool. Yeah, don't spend all of your time just trying to get it up on Heroku. It's good. Yeah, get started on your front end.
but during this time we can still tackle it, I think.
Yeah, that's true. How are people feeling about Pusher, about WebSockets? Seems to work is a good thing. This looks like your Pusher app. Your config file is configured wrong. Can you put what it shows in your config file? No, in the Heroku config. So I think you can just type Heroku config, and it should. Maybe not. Can you copy what your config file is in Slack? Your debug, you have all caps true, maybe capital T, lowercase RUE, because this is casting in Python, so it will take the string and cast it. I don't think all caps true will work, so that might be what's breaking the app. Actually, it looks like it cast works with all caps, TRUE. Oh, that is interesting.
I did not know you could cast capital true to Boolean like that and have it work. That's interesting.
It looks like it's just casting the string. So because the string is not a null string, it's treating it as true. But I wonder if that's what's breaking this. How is it cast in the project? Let me see. Oh, it's casting it in the actually in config. Capital T, can you do capital T, lowercase RUE? Okay.
Google's not super helpful here.
Does it work if you just put in the keys directly in without config? Yeah, I think a lot of people have gotten this deployed.
That's a good lead. That it's a string versus a number. I don't know because, well, so, Jameson, does it show up as a string when you do Heroku config, or does it just show up as a number?
Yeah, my US2 is also lowercase.
There, yeah. The US2 thing might be worth a check. Well, that seems like a long shot.
I think it works locally. That's odd.
You paste your .env in as well.
Hey, Jameson, yours is working, right?
These are different pusher app IDs.
BJ, I think you're looking at.
Am I looking at the wrong thing?
This is Jameson's. Is
I was comparing Jameson's. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So of course they're different. So what's your .env look like? So I can compare it to what Heroku thought.
Hey, yeah, how do you say Erink? I'm looking at how do you pronounce the C with the squiggle?
Orange.
Hard C to a soft C. Okay, so it's a soft C. Ch. So Erinch. Okay. Six oh five 849. 605 849.
Cluster. I was looking at the source code for Pusher. There's no weird check for the app ID. It just compares the app ID directly. It doesn't have like any other weird conditions in there.
Your allowed hosts. So you're escaping. So you have single quotes within a single quote. I wonder if this is working though, right?
Yeah, it is working. I think.
That's a working one. That's weird.
I think it's just a string with an open bracket and then an asterisk and then a string with a closed bracket. I think is how that's getting parsed. If you just type Heroku config, if you're in that directory with your app,
yeah,
you should do it.
Do you think it? I guess it's weird that this works. I'm wondering if you need to have the double quotes around it. I mean, if that one works, then it works.
Yeah, I've got the Heroku config here in the VI window. Pan up to this error message again. Sorry. Is there anything else in here that could? Python 3.7, Pusher client, and then in client. Let's see, we go Pusher client line 34 and client line 25. Oh, sorry.
Terrence, did you try running it with just the code pasted with your credentials pasted directly in? I know that you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to commit your credentials, but
Seems like it might be worth a try.
yeah, could be worth a shot. And you said it works locally though, right? It's only broken. It only doesn't work on Heroku. Okay, it's odd. Yeah, it is. I think it's worth a shot to type them directly in, and then you can at least know that it's a problem with the config and not a problem with your app ID. And if that works, you could also do something like print app ID and print config app ID, just to see if they're maybe getting passed in different forms or something. Because if you know that it works for what you're typing in, and you can see what's different between the two.
It almost seems like if you just print out config pusher app ID, we should get something back, right?
Yeah, maybe also print out the type. I wonder if the type matters.
Let's see. It's constructing a new pusher. I should figure out that. Oh, let's see here. Self config.
Generator expression must be parenthesized. Josh, where are you getting that error? In terminal, when you run make migrations, can you print out the whole error? So this is the same as, looks like the same as Simon's error. Similar. Josh, is this local or on Heroku? Okay, local. So Simon's, if I remember, works locally, but was bugged on Heroku, which is odd. I wonder what the difference is. Okay, so Josh is getting a similar error to Simon locally, but Simon's works locally, but Simon gets this bug on Heroku. So we just need to figure out what Josh's local environment has in common with Simon's Heroku environment that has something to do with generator expressions. um, let's see. So something with virtual environments. I don't know where all this Bootstrap stuff is coming from. To installed apps. Debugging is awesome once you figure out the bug, but before then, it's sometimes just like banging your head on a brick wall. Yeah, sometimes it's logic, but sometimes it's also looking into a black box, looking at a black box without total knowledge of what's going on inside and trying to figure out what the issue is. Yeah, Jared. So the casting, I think, happens. So if you do a Python cast, then like if you do bool, paren, and then a string, it looks like it'll cast it to true, any string, as long as it's not an empty string, probably. But yeah, but it looks like the decouple module is smarter about it. And this is running 3.7. Gosh, I don't know. I would maybe have to start looking at your screens and seeing if maybe we can go more into what the what your environments are like. I can't really tell much just from this error. It seems like it's at some point where it's importing these modules. So it looks like it's importing some module that it doesn't like, that isn't being handled correctly. I don't know why that would be, because I didn't run into these errors, and I'm running 3.7 also, and Heroku is Heroku, and it seems to work for many other people. So I'm not sure what the difference is here. Josh, can you copy your pip file.lock into Slack? Maybe we can see if some of your packages are looking at different versions. Where is Bootstrap getting loaded from? Does Bootstrap just get automatically loaded into every Django project?
Not sure.
Because there's all, because I know that it's not loading Bootstrap from anything that I set up, but it looks like it's importing Bootstrap from something. Yeah, pip file will probably be long. There's a ton of hashes that are that I don't think matter, but what they're showing is that's a good point. Yeah, maybe probably for the admin. But pipfile.lock will show you all of the versions of these if you have the libraries that you're using. Pip file doesn't really show much. But yeah, maybe you can show pip file just to see if like my pip file is very very bare. It shows the packages and just has a star. All right. Yeah, this is kind of ugly to look through. So 3.7. Pi. 0.24, 0. 824 looks the same. Markers, Python version is greater than 2.7 and it's not 3.0. It's not 3.1. It's not 3.2. It's not 3.3. Looks right. Or looks the same as mine.
It's this. I'm pretty sure. It's an old version of Django. So in my reading for that error message, it says Django 1.11 is incompatible with Python 3.7.
Ooh.
And that you need Django version 2.
Yeah, my Django's at 2.1.1.
Wait, Vim, which of those do you have? Yeah, that's the diff, yeah. So Josh, did you run pipenv install Django in the virtual environment?
I wonder why Simon is getting the same error on Heroku though.
Yeah, that one is more mysterious to me. Uh, that would
Jameson.
imply that there's like a requirements.txt or a pip file that shows one
Oh
dot,
yeah.
but
But why does it run locally,
why
right?
does it run locally? Unless he's running like Python, not version. Oh, could it be a virtual environment problem? Like if you're running Python 2 locally, then it's going to work fine with 1.11. But if you're running Python, make sure you're in your virtual environment, maybe. Josh, if you type pip list, what's the output? Or particularly the output with Django.
Oh, that's much cleaner than than looking at the whole pip file.
Yeah. So let's try doing an update or upgrade of that thing. How do we do this? Hang on a second. No, we should get it to work in your virtual environment. What do you have in your pip file? You manually entered the app ID and it's working. That's curious. So config isn't working for some reason.
The next thing I would do is throw in some print messages. So something like I'll paste in Slack.
Oh, let's see. Django version star. Okay, let's see here. I wonder if we can force that. So I'll bet you it's getting the Django that you have installed globally. What version were we all running? 2.1.1?
Yep, I'm on 2.1.1.
Yeah, so Josh, edit your pip file there and change that Django line to change the asterisk. Just change that to a 2. Let's give that a shot. And I think if you change the asterisk on the Django line in your pip file to a 2, that'll cause it to use version 2.x or something. And then after that, if you do a pip env install, then you are in your virtual environment, right? Fun with deployment. You should just be, if you change the asterisk to a 2, then you should just be able to run pip env install. And it should run through and do whatever it needs to do.
Six oh five 849.
String.
That looks right. Oh, that looks like what I got. I mean,
Just an asterisk, I think, means wildcard. I think it means whatever you got. So I'm speculating that because 1.11 is installed local or globally on Josh's machine, that when pipenv install runs, it's like, oh, you got 1.11, so I'm not going to do anything. That's my speculation. But I think if we change it to a 2, then pipenv install is going to be like, hey, I don't have that anywhere. I don't have it globally. I don't have it locally. So I'm just going to get the latest version 2 and install that. Pip not found.
it's weird. I was able to run it okay on my computer, on my Heroku.
Pip not found.
It's on Heroku, right? So Heroku run pip list. I wonder what that means.
Oh.
Heroku. So you can't run Heroku run pip list. So Heroku run means that you're doing the commands on the Heroku in Heroku.
Oh, maybe we do need Python before it. Oh, but you didn't.
Yeah, I didn't need to do that at all. Erinch, next I would add something like print 605 849 equals config pusher app ID. I would print something like this, or I would add something like this. So if you know that this string that you put in works, and you know that this config doesn't work. All right, I missed a quote there, but put something like this. So if you know that the string that you put in is working and that the config is not working, then you should check to see if these two are equivalent. And if they're not equal, then maybe dive in to see what the difference is.
Oh, here's something interesting. Let's see.
Hey, Brady. You got a question on that pusher command you just gave? Do you have to be in the shell? Like, and then do you have to call the library, like decouple and everything when you want to run that? Or can you just run that one line and it'll have access to the config function and then the pusher app ID and everything automatically?
I mean, this should be on Heroku. So you should add this to your thing and then deploy to Heroku, since it works locally and is broken on Heroku, and then do like Heroku logs -t, so you can see the Heroku logs, and then you should be able to see that line in the Heroku logs. I like to also do something like print n, and then like star, so I can see exactly where it shows up in the logs.
Oh. Hey Josh, did that thing work about changing the asterisk to 2 and then run pipenv install? And I'm come on. How do we get that thing to upgrade? That's silly. What do we do? Pipenv install here.
Josh, what happens if you type which Django admin?
And here's another command for you, Josh, pipenv update. See if that forces it to go. And I also have another thing to print out here along the app ID front. But let me see if I can get this code together. Removing and reinstalling, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think in this case, unless you had some other dependency on the globally installed Django. Frankly, I wouldn't install it globally anyway. I'd just install it in a virtual environment every time to pretty much avoid exactly this issue. The global one shouldn't matter though. We should be able to override it with this local one. We ought to be able to do that.
Okay, yeah, so it is pointing to the virtual one.
I'm sorry, I've forgotten. Who was it that was having the problem with config app IDs not working?
Is that Erich?
Is that Eric? Yeah. I have another thing. You've got all those print statements in here. I've got another thing to print out, like maybe right before this. Because it looks like when you're printing the config for this thing, it looks like it's working, right? Because it prints out, whoops, I didn't mean to bring your face up there, sorry. It prints out the proper ID. So in that same file, let's try this code. I have no idea if this is going to actually work. If I can spell it right, util, pusher, util, import app ID re. So put that in there somewhere. And then the thing I want to print out is this. And then, shoot, what was it? Pusher app ID. So I were to give that a shot. I was digging around the source code, and this regular expression match is actually what they use to test to see if they should print out invalid app ID or not. And if that prints out something sensible, I have another one that we can do too.
Which is that local or on Heroku? Okay, well you should be running all of these things on Heroku since it works locally, and Heroku is the one that's broken.
Six.
Josh, what do you get when you type pipm -- version? Okay, that's the same as I have. And you got an error from running pipenv update?
Oh, I've seen this one before. What does it mean? It's I think it has to do with Python 2.7. Are you in your virtual environment? Huh. So Python minus minus version is giving us will give us 3 something. Maybe update isn't a thing we can do. Maybe. That doesn't appear to be an option.
All right, were you able to see any results from printing your config on Heroku? Okay. Remember to look at your logs. It's Heroku logs -t. PIPFAM 2018 7.1 raises a valid marker for
That one's totally confusing to me, why it's looking at Python 2.7 anything.
2.7. Oh yeah. Yeah, what the heck?
I mean, I'm almost positive I've seen this error when Python 2 is running instead of Python 3. So for some reason, yeah, what's going on here? Why is it running Python 2?
Can you do pipm3? Is that a thing? Pipm3? No, not even a command.
Oh, I don't know, some Hail Mary stuff. Try exiting your virtual environment and re-entering your virtual environment and see if that sets something right, because something's hosed here in a bizarre way that's causing it to not run the proper software. Why is it doing this?
And Josh, when you run Python -- version, you get Python 3.7.
Yeah, he's set up here.
Okay.
And if you type pip minus minus version, you get something also 3-ish, I trust.
I think it's generated when you do pipenv install.
Yeah. There is a path variable in Linux, but it should be ignored for the purposes of Python package lookups. There's a Python path, but Python is usually pretty good about knowing where to look based on the version that's running. So, does it add anything else to the end of it? Mine's like pip version 10, but then it says something at the end. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So pip knows to go to Python 3.7, and it knows to do it in the virtual environment, unlike this, which is freaking out and going to your .local site packages, which is like a global install of something. Why? What's your pipenv version? This thing just gives a bad number that doesn't really help me, but that seems recent.
Yeah, it's the same as mine.
Josh, you already posted your pip file, right? It was one with all the asterisks in it, right? And now it's just different because there's a 2 in here for Django, right? This one is so mysterious. Oh, out of curiosity, what happens if you do pipenv uninstall Django?
Do you have to do, if you're putting a version in the pip file, do you have to do equals equals and like 2 point whatever?
I don't think so, because I've had good luck in the pip file setting like Python version to 3.
Okay.
And it just uses 3 whatever. But I think if you put an equals equals, it'll force it to like a specific version.
Yeah.
So that might be worth a try.
So put like equals equals 2.1.1.
Well, if you're in your virtual environment, it should use whatever Python or whatever Django you have installed in the virtual environment.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, can we uninstall Django with pipenv and then maybe add that line? Yeah, so I'm thinking we might manually add it back with a specific version in it. So then if you put this line back in your pip file, Django equals under the packages, looks like it's like this. Django equals, and then let's do Brady's thing like this. So that was right under the packages section, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm hoping if you go back out and run pip env install, it goes through the pipenv file and says, oh, I don't have Django version 2.1.1. And it installs it. Kind of fingers crossed because so much other weird stuff's happening. Any dice?
All right. If you do pip list, does it say Django's 2.1.1?
Please.
All right. Now, if you run your now, are you able to run the migration? All right. one bug solved. Yeah. Progress. Now you're unblocked, so you should be able to hit the ground running. Now I'm really curious about Simon's environment, for whom it works locally, but who's getting this error on Heroku. which leads me to believe something maybe with the requirements.txt.
Yeah. Is there a requirements.txt? Because I don't think it's. I seem to remember that you could have that it'll look for requirements.txt primarily, and then it'll look for pip file secondarily.
Yeah, I put in a requirements.txt in the repo.
But it has the right versions of everything in it, right?
It has my versions, and my versions I can confirm worked. So I don't.
Certainly has that version of Django. So
Yeah. Simon, I don't know if Simon is still around.
oh, Heroku build logs will announce the Python version. That's good.
Yeah, it looks like Simon's gone. At least from Zoom.
Well, we've run a bit over time here, so we should probably wrap up this Zoom and then keep working on stuff on an ad hoc basis.
Yeah, everyone who's still having problems, maybe let's move over to the CS11 help channel, and
And we can do stuff there. That way,
Yeah.
the rest of you here who are here on the call can take off and hack away on the client. All right, gang. It seems like pretty good progress is being made here. Like Brady said, it is about time to start hacking on the front end. So if you've got something going locally, start working on the front end so you have that stuff completed. And then we can, in our extra time, we'll probably throw out a query sometime and say, like, what problems are people having with deploy? And then we can start Googling for stuff like that if you give us the error messages you're having. But yeah, we don't want to get to be like Wednesday night and you're still stuck on deploy and haven't worked on the front end at all. So if you're blocked now in that you don't have the back end working locally or remotely, definitely talk to us. Otherwise, happy hacking, everybody. And we'll see you all on the help channel or tomorrow morning.
Yep. Bye, everyone.